Right, Hot To Trot. We are back for another week. Andrew Fitzgerald. Hello, my friend.
How are you going, Paul? Great to be back.
Good week for Aldebaran Park. It's a good week too when you do your second week show, and plenty to talk about and what's been a great weekend of trotting.
Yeah, a couple more winners there for Aldebaran Eagle, so that's always good. Keeps the ticks coming from Duncan, but yeah, and it sold a couple more services to both of them, so that's always a good week.
We'll get started straight away. I will apologise for the recording of these horses, but just a little bit of my service where I'm at here. But we've got flying time for Lisa Miles sitting behind the leader, just pulled outside of Sky Valley filly as well. It's going to win a race very shortly. But this little filly brought up her first win. Won't be her last, though, Andrew.
No, it got a lovely way of going, doesn't it? And won it really well. Good times, I thought, and just kept going away at the line. So, like you say, it doesn't look like that'll be the only win in its career.
No, she's one of those fillies too, and I actually drove her one day for Lisa in track work. That she sort of was in amongst the better horses early on in her career, and probably just lost her way. And I think sometimes when a horse gets a win on the board, it can really get them going into the right area, if you like, and get their confidence up, I suppose is the word that I'm looking for, because I've actually hit the wrong button. I had everything sorted, Andrew, and then I went and hit the wrong button and got rid of everything. But yeah, she's a lovely progressive filly, and in the right hands too. Lisa knows her way around the trotters, that's for sure. The other one we wanted to highlight, this filly's only having its third start in a race. This is a filly called Kiang Brandy in front for Auntie Roanoke. Brought up his second win in Australia for Auntie, so congratulations for him there. But yeah, this filly, Kiang Brandy, done the job for the Lavard group down at Terang, and this won't be her last win either, mate.
Same thing, isn't it? It just comes constantly through with the Aldebaran Eagles, I reckon. Good ways of going, good manners, nice types. That's everything you want as a breeder, I think, is everything he throws. And so, yeah, with those serves left, I think you've got to be in quick to grab him, but he's leaving just good, solid trotters, and they've all got ability, which is good.
Yeah, and that other filly of Lisa Miles is out of Tilly Time too. It's a Majestic Sun horse, but it of course has that little moniker next to its name, NZ. So any of the New Zealand guys want to follow that breeding, they'll know a lot of that family. The other amazing winner for Aldebaran Eagle, and there's a couple of dichotomy ticked over $100,000 during the week, so that flies under the radar as well. And then you also, on Saturday night, on that massive meeting at Melton, we had Rockingwithattitude getting the chocolates there. So that was super impressive. I caught up with Dave Miles. I'll throw to that interview now, mate, and we'll discuss a little bit afterwards. Right, Hot To Trot for Aldebaran Park weekly show, where we're showcasing the winners, the stallions, and a few other things going on. David Miles is going to join me this week. Hello, Miles.
Hey, Paulie, how are you, mate?
Very, very well. I will say we're going to catch up with Andrew Fitzgerald as well with some more updates in New Zealand with what Aldebaran Park are doing. But, Milesy, I wanted to talk to you. I want to congratulate you for the job that you've done with Lucy. I'll start that one off because I get into trouble for forgetting your name, but Rockingwithattitude. Firstly, over the whole journey, congratulations. It's been a terrific run you've had so far.
Yeah, no, we've tipped her out in the paddock now, Paulie, and I just did a bit of a spiel for the owners on Sunday morning when we decided that she's going to go and have a break, and just, thanking both them and all the staff here at home and everybody that's had anything to do with it, whether it's farriers or chiropractors, dentists. She's been a pleasure to train, but it's been a great ride over the last 3 seasons, and we realise it's going to get harder and she's got to get faster, but she's been a pleasure, and the people to deal with along the way have been fantastic as well.
It's been a lot of fun. Before we get onto the actual horse and her record, it's a lot of fun. The owners buy in. I've actually meant to have one of those hats. It's meant to be. Could have had it last Saturday night, but I said I was going to Queensland, so they said no, it's not going to roll around in the dust in Queensland. So I do have one of those hats. But the guys buy into it, and they all have fun. They all, I suppose, embrace it a little bit differently, if you like. Some are full on, some are a little bit more reserved, but they all, at the end of the day, have so much fun.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of that credit goes to Michelle Arnott, who has managed this syndicate fantastically well. And there's a couple other syndicate members that have been super inclusive. Tracy Wiley and Andrew Wiley, Karen Holzberger. They really include everybody, and every event that goes on, there's a group chat, and they've had a ball in Queensland both trips. In Sydney, it always makes it easier when you win. But I don't think they would have had a bad trip even if she hadn't have won.
I was going to say they're a little bit like another syndicate of guys, the guys we Just Believe. I think they just go there and enjoy. They understand what they've got and enjoy it, and are realistic. And when they come out a winner, you're just happy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they all enjoy a drink, and as we all do after a good win. But it's helped with the money she's earned along the way, that they've been able to enjoy the travel as well without having the financial strains. I always say to owners, if they're getting into a horse, if you need the horse to win, you won't enjoy it as much as if you just want the horse to win. So it makes it a lot easier when she's earned the prize money she has. But in saying that, I think they're having just as much fun with the baby trotter that's on their way through now, and even foal spam we're having this week with the new foal of Rockin' Shirazes by Elite Stride, the foal spam and the videos that are being shared around at the moment, which the Victorian-based owners are up visiting my brother's place and having a look at her. So the syndicates are great, and is when you have a successful horse first up like this, it's made my life so much easier.
She's a bit of a revelation. Aldebaran Park obviously stood Aldebaran Eagle, and who's now ill-fated, but for the New Zealand people, they're still able to get a service fee. She's by a pacing bred. Her mum is pacing bred, a horse that you actually raced, and I'd be interested to know if she ever showed any inkling of trotting at all. But she's not the high-end, fashionably bred horse, if you like, but she's just a great little story, isn't she?
Yeah, now we bought the mother off Stuart Watt, and I went up and drove her at Ben Studs, and Craig Judd had broken her in, and we bowled around with the hobbles on, and we got her home, and she was not the nicest of paces. Once she got the faster she went, the worse she actually paced. By rock and roll heaven out of a grin mare, so the grin probably throws a little bit of trot into him because he could throw the odd trotter. Got her home, and I think she qualified as a pacer but wasn't fast enough, and converted her, and I think she won 6 races as a trotter, but like a lot of those pacing bred trotters used to interfere quite badly and finished up having to be retired with a bowed shin behind, where she just used to hit her back leg that hard that the shin gave way. This is the first foal, and she's identical to her mother. It's funny because she's got all that trot in her, and her mother was quite a nice trotter, a typical pacing bred trotter, had good gate speed, was probably a little bit weak. This filly's got the gate speed, but she's definitely not weak.
Sorry about that. I actually got that wrong. I thought you raced her grandmother as well. So, yeah, I did know that her mother trotted. No, sorry. I actually got that one wrong. But it is a family that you've had a lot to do with. This filly, you said there before, like about trotting, pacing bred trotters that can show so much ability, but they can unfortunately seem to have other issues and that along the way. This filly, although she does have her small issues, her action, her gait, the way she strides just seems so natural and so pretty.
Yeah, she's awesome to sit behind. Probably her one fault compared to some other really good trotters that you watch is that she needs to be on the bridle. She doesn't sort of trot on a loose rein very often. And if she is on a loose rein, she just doesn't quite have that balance. Now, whether Anaki Svenstead would improve that, he probably would, in maybe gear or shoeing or something like that. But for me, even in the preliminary and the whole time she's coming up the straight, you very rarely see the reins loose. She just needs that touch of balance. And I think that's a trait of high-speed trotters as well. They need that little bit of balance. The dour trotters you can sort of throw the kitchen sink at them. But, she's had a couple of little gait issues. She's had some stifle issues through her life. We've been very, very lucky not to have a major injury issue with her.
Milesy, Saturday night, we'll touch on this race here because I've actually got it up She must give you so much confidence. You drew 2 on the third last horse on the second line. Geez, that's a beautiful picture actually with the shadows, isn't it? But you were wide on the second line. You only had 1 horse outside of you. She just must give you such a confident feel because you just punched through straight away on the inside. If you're actually able to watch it, and there's David just there going through in the yellow colours. She just must give you so much confidence. You say there before she's got to trot on a nice rein, but when she's on that nice rein and you just even asked her for a little bit more, like you're running third. Technically, you should have been sort of second last, and you're actually running third at the winner post.
Yeah, it was an interesting race with some really good horses drawn off the back with us, and the Lee trio drawn 1, 2, and 3 was really did go into it with no game plan. Just went in and went, we'll see what happens. And as soon as Taylor French didn't quite tack up on Parisian Artist going to the gate, and I thought, well, that's one spot I can get across. And it looked like the 1, 2, and 3 were all going to run the gate, as you expect with the lead trio, as they always do. Thought that there would be a little bit of a gap there somewhere, and luckily enough for us, Aldebaran Vera made a mistake, and we got in, and we actually, there was a little sniffer getting in behind the leader there for one stage. I thought we might have been able to slot in there, but turned out we buzzed through only for about 100, 150 metres. Greg was quite clever, got to the death seat, but he did a bit of work and took the punt that either he would carry on to the front if the one horse didn't want to hold, and would get me to the breeze, or if we could get it outside the leader, that would be a pretty good spot to be with Aldebaran Vera, who I thought was probably the second best chance in the race out the back. And then it was nice because I didn't think anybody was going to come, and we were able to get away with a 31-4, 29-8 down the back. And she probably run her fastest last quarter of her career in 27-2 home. And that's the nemesis of 1 Overall, who probably lacks a bit of high speed. And the leader was very good, and we just pinched him right on the line.
Only going down the back straight here, and we've got a little bit of time, but for a lot of the New Zealand people, they would know 1 Overall on the back of you. This actually was if you like, a consolation to the Bill Collins sprint, albeit that it was over the 2200, because I think 3/4 of this field were made up of horses that didn't get that final ballot, Dave.
Yeah, we nominated for the main race, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. When I nominated, I hope I'd get a ballot, because I think I said in the media last week, it was the strongest trot race we've seen in Australia for a long time. It was absolutely full of all the great horses. Our fillies, she's done a great job, but I don't know who they would have left out. And I think 1 Overall was even first emergency. So we were the second horse left out, I would presume. But I don't know who you would leave out to put us in, because it was such a strong race, which is a credit to the trotting ranks here in Victoria at the moment.
Yeah, but it's a testament to that field, because if you actually look at it, I think from memory it was a 72 to 80 rated race, but it was a far better race than that. It was a high end metro race. It's your main trot on any other Saturday night. Yeah,
it would have been the free for all. Maybe a smidge weaker than the normal free for all, but it was. When you got horses like Don't Care, Parisian Artiste, 1 Overall, and Aldebaran Vera, who's a track record holder at Melton, I'm pretty sure. That was nothing to be sneezed at, that's for sure.
Aldebaran Eagle, you'd go back to him in a heartbeat.
Well, we did. We were very lucky. We've got a full sister to Rocking with Attitude. So we're very lucky. She's just been weaned, so she'll head off to the breakers in about 6 or 8 weeks. So we're very lucky to have a full sister to Lucy on the way, or on the way to the races anyway, hopefully. This mare, she's got the 2-year-old I used to me this year, who didn't do a bad job, run third in a size heat. Probably should have won if he hadn't have broke. We've got an elite stride on the ground at the moment.
Yeah, all right. You got a few coming. What is the go with Lucy? Rocking with Attitude. She has got an embryo. Won't be far off foaling, I wouldn't have thought, actually.
No, she's pretty late, actually, Paul. Lucy kept getting in foal, but the mares kept rejecting them for some reason. So I think it was about to go 3 or 4 before we finally got a lovely chestnut galloping mare in foal. So that'll be interesting to see what comes out of her. But whether you believe it's the mare, the surrogate mare, or the DNA itself, who knows? But yeah, she's got a surrogate to an average stallion that's doing a fair job at the moment called Volstead.
Do you keep racing her?
Yeah, I'm not going to do an embryo this year.
Yep.
Listen, a lot of good scribes will tell you that taking embryos out of them while they're racing them isn't a great idea. I know some great mares that have had it done and didn't quite come back, e.g. Mother Courage, Tailor Made Lombo, and I've had a couple that I definitely weren't as happy with. Funnily enough, this mare's been great for us this year, Rocking with Attitude, but I haven't been able to get a coat right. Even Saturday night was probably her best her coat's been all year. And somewhere deep down in the back of my brain thinking maybe that's because I got an embryo out of her last year. Not quite sure. But yeah, there's just that little hint to me to say that we've got lucky. Let's leave well alone and we'll give her a rest, because she didn't get much of a rest last year. She was to and fro getting, as I said, I think she got in foal 3 or 4 times. So that spell she had, she was getting annoyed quite a lot.
What do you do with her? Like, she's got an amazing record. I'll actually flick it up on the screen here. 35 starts, 20 wins, 470,000. I'm just going to round it up for the sake of $2,000. $470,000. The best time of 57.1. What are your aims? I mean, she's a 3-time Oak winner, 2-time Derby winner. She ticks a lot of boxes, this filly, so far.
Yeah, there's not much she really has to do now. Now it's just enjoy her. It's to be honest, I really have put her in the paddock so I don't take her to the Indus, because I might like a junket trip or 2 away, Paul, a bit like you up in Queensland there at the moment. But it is a graveyard for 4-year-old mares, the Inter Dominion. It's so hard on them. We saw the first week back this 2 starts back where she chased home Olivici and Call Me the Breeze and I'm Ready Jet. It wasn't Call Me the Breeze, Queen Alita. Yeah. Yeah, she needs to improve a second. And just as I said, I haven't been super happy with her coat all year, and I think she's been about 98% right. But I just want to give her a break and bring her back next year to probably take on that Mares Mile race at Menangle. That'll be her main aim, I would think. The one thing she doesn't have beside her name is a cracking time, and we'll see how she fronts up there. But I think that and a little trip to Queensland next year in the middle of winter might be my holiday again for the year, Paulie.
Will she be back in time for the Aldebaran Park Murray Mile? Is that something for a fast time next to her name?
When's that, Paulie?
First weekend in January, Benio Cup night.
She probably won't. No. I contemplated leaving her in for another 3 weeks. I think there's the Delvin Dancer 4-year-old trot on the 9th of November. We and ahhed about whether we keep her in for another month for that. But no, I think she probably won't come back into work until about the 1st of December. I'd say, and then we'll look at the February carnival if we can get to, or even the February carnival might have to be the mid-November before she comes back into work, which will give her 4 to 6 weeks or something like that.
What about the Grins in New Zealand? She's a mare with good gate speed, tight little track. Mares get the barrier draw advantage.
Yeah, I know. You keep throwing races at me and I'll keep saying I'll go, but all I'm doing.
Hey, it's a junket. No. It's in. Well, I'm going to get into trouble here, but it is in April, so you've got plenty of time. Yeah.
That's races from February on will definitely be on the radar, I would think. Probably late February. I'd like to give it 6 or 8 weeks if I can. But in saying that, and for the people who know, she has spelled here at the farm a lot, and she doesn't spell well. I look out the window and shut my eyes a lot because she just runs around and tears around. So she's actually going to go around to my brother's place and spell with Look Like Diamonds, and that way I think she'll spell perfectly well because I can't see her.
We've done a couple of these. You alluded that maybe a trip overseas at some point in time. Is that still on the radar, or are you thinking, she's a little bit older now and you won't try that?
Oh, no, if we get the opportunity and she fronts up and she can keep up with Call Me the Breeze and Just Believe and RC Phoenix, and if I can get another second or a second and a half out of her, I'd love to take her overseas and maybe get her in foal overseas to end her career, to a Chapter 7 or a Warner or something like that. And that would be the pinnacle, wouldn't it? We'll just play that by ear. She needs to. We saw what Aldebaran Zeus did over there, and he was competitive without being a wow. And we've really only seen Just Believe. Sundon's Gift was good. Loyal Creek, and we're starting to talk champion of champions, and it's going to be super hard for her to go over there and be competitive, and she'd want to be getting down to running a 51 mile at Menangle for us to warrant to go, I would have thought.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's realistic, but we want these horses to travel if we can, and it does get a little bit easier as well, and you never know. A second is a long way, but it may not be that far, with a nice spell, as you said, and away from your eyes, so you're not bringing her in too early as well. We'll get in trouble from the sister-in-law too. There was a little horse called Night Pistol, went okay over there as well. So.
Yeah, it went fair, didn't it? Yeah.
And
as I say, there's been a bunch travel and do great jobs, but it does really stick in my mind. I don't want to go and embarrass her and embarrass ourselves. She really does. Her PB at Melton is a tick over 54 for the 1700. And when you look at Call Me the Breeze and Just Believe, they went 53s in the Great Southern Star early in the year. So we need to be getting 53 to Melton, and that probably is a 51 and a half at Menangle, which then gets us to America and or wherever we are in maybe a 50, which is only just keeping up, I think.
Yeah, no, very, very realistic, Dave. I was just looking there. She was a 54. Where did I see it there? When she ran second. She was only beaten 4 metres on that occasion. That was in the Caletta's Pride free-for-all. Miles, thank you very much. This is proudly brought to you by Aldebaran Park, of course, who stand Aldebaran Eagle. Want to get the people out there to be aware that he is there. He's still available in New Zealand. Frozen Seaman. Of course, he's not allowed here in Australia. He's not available here in Australia. I think you've got to foal the horse down, before it can come back. So I think there's a few thoughts of that potentially happening with a group of people, Dave.
We did have that discussion, a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, Paul? How it's an interesting scenario. And don't worry, it was discussed about sending a Rock and Shiraz over to New Zealand to go again, because I bought an Aldebaran Eagle at the sales this year, and I'd go back in a heartbeat, because for the amount of mares he got and the job he's done has been phenomenal. But the old mare had colic surgery a couple of years ago, and might have just been a bit tough of a trip for her.
Never know. You better buy something at the yearling sales in a couple of years to come. Miles, thank you very much. Really appreciate the chat, mate.
Cheers, Paulie. Have a great day.
Yep.
All right, mate. Typical Dave Miles style there. He gets a little bit off track from time to time, but smashing filly. And he alluded there in the interview that that they did toy with the idea of sending the mare to New Zealand, which is an option for Australian breeders, that they can still send those mares to New Zealand. Over there and be bred. They've got to be foaled down over there though as well. So it does give a unique opportunity that we want people to be aware of, and with Aldebaran Eagle still being available as Frozen Seaman. Yeah,
obviously with AI we don't do it at all really in for standard breeds, don't we? But in the galloping game they're flying them everywhere, aren't they? So it wouldn't be the first to fly one here and get them foal, and if you can get a foal to her, we know how good she is, and she just continues to prove it. What's she up to now? 35 starts, 20 wins, nearly 500,000 in prize money. That's a valuable foal out of her, and I know the ownership group would no doubt go again and would love to race a full to her.
She won 3 Oaks, 2 Derbies, She didn't contest the Victorian Derby. They actually stopped on her just then. She's contested the Great Square in Queensland, of course, and won that. She ran second to a horse, Bet and Win. She's a serious horse. She's not just you run-of-mill horses. Dave there alluded there that she's possibly about a second behind the real good horses. But when we're talking real good horses, they're superstars. Just Believe, Call Me the Bruise, these sorts of horses. So, she's right up there in the upper echelon of good trotters here in the Southern Hemisphere as we speak.
I certainly couldn't remember too much better of a trotting mare around. Could you?
No.
For the job she's done, all those features, I think people were quick to throw out Superstar and Champion onto horses that, especially some of the Aussies, they like throwing a few on there when there's a Kiwi horse goes over there and wins a couple and they're declaring it with big names. But she deserves it, and she deserves Champion, Superstar, everything you can say, and will probably go down in history. Really, there'll probably be some trotting buffs watching this that might be able to provide any more information. But thinking off the top of my head, she's got to be right up there.
Well, she's a 4-year-old mare. She's not going anywhere. She's got a foal. She's got a surrogate mare in foal. There's a full sister to her, or full brother to her. Sorry, I think David alluded to just there as well, coming along. So she's not going to the breeding barn anytime soon. Queensland again is the main option. There are a few other options on the radar as well. I need to grab the right mouse. We need to put Aldebaran Eagle's banner up there, and of course for New Zealand only, he is available just under $3,500, including the GST in that. Great horse, getting massive stats on the run board. As I said, 3 winners this week, and Dichotomy ticking over 100,000. So you said there before you've already been a little bit of interest has been garnered around him as well, Andrew.
Yeah, we're still up to we're at the 8 or 9, and there's a few more sniffing around. So I think, like I said last week, value for money, isn't it? And pay on live foal is the big thing. I think it would be great if more services was on foal. I think you'd get a lot more people probably breeding and taking the risk of putting the money in, that knowing I only have to pay that money on live foal. The cost before that is not as hard to get into, especially younger people. Like for me, that's why I've sent one there. I've actually sent 2 to American Ideal, same thing. Both pay on live foal. And I've got 12 months to worry about it, and from there I can get other people into it, and and it's not that big upfront cost of putting the money in, not getting a foal, and then having to go again, like pay on live foal exactly as it says, right? So I think that's a big bonus for breeders out there.
Great incentive actually, and great. It's one of those things when you actually live it, you understand it, don't you? I suppose, and get the message out there. So that part's really cool. I said there before, for the New Zealand guys only, for the Australians only. Sky Valley, that second horse, Brent Thompson's, will win a race soon, and he just continues to do a great job. Yeah, right. For my New Zealand friends who can't get a Sky Valley, but keep an eye on him. I believe he's going around in the Tatlow this Saturday night, and he's a really lovely horse bred by him. But for the Australian viewers, a lot of people will know who Sky Valley is and the job that he is doing. And the other stallion on the roster, we've got a few other things to cover off, but we might as well do the stallions now, Andrew, is Dancing in the Dark, M.
Yep, superstar. He was, like I said, just breaks records on debut, and did a lot of mares over the last couple of seasons between Australia and New Zealand. So he's going to get his chance to show that he's a great outcross with the no victory, Valley Victory blood in there, which I know is something that's sought after with that outcross. So I think he's going to do a great job, and $4,000 plus GST. Affordable, as I keep saying. I might sound like I'm on repeat, but I think he's great value for that price when you compare him to some others around.
And I know Michael House, he has a New Zealand tie, that horse there, and I think it's about the 3rd or 4th generation of the mares. It comes back to a lot of the families that started off that New Zealand trotting family. So there'll be a lot of the purists out there would be well and truly aware of it, and how it does work. So it's pretty important that we get that message out there. I said there before about the Aldebaran Park Tatlow. I'm going to touch on a few of the races Duncan's got sponsoring coming up. A couple of little horses to keep an eye on there. Alrighty, as I said there, by Sky Valley. But Gatesy's Gem, the daughter of Aldebaran Eagle as well. So we might have another nice little update you can see there. I think she's had 5 starts. I think actually I'll cheat. We'll go straight into it and can get it. 5 starts, 4 wins. She's a very high class filly. The only time she got beat was obviously in the Super Series final when there was 3 false starts on that occasion, and she just over raced, unfortunately, on Glenn Hunter, so things didn't go to plan there. But those couple of horses there, really nice horses, and good little race to keep an eye on there. And I'm sure we'll be speaking about it next week.
Yeah, I see Nath Jet got on too, so hopefully Glenn's not injured or anything like that, or obviously he might have just gone for Nath, but he was doing a bloody good job of driving her, and like you say, just unfortunate to be beaten in that major race when she just got fired up over the false starts. But she's a serious filly. I think looks like a nice field, but she's going to be hard to beat, I think. Yeah,
it is a good field actually. That's the beauty of the trotters nowadays. Dennis Day's horse there, Rainbow Jester, drawn to pole. He's a serious horse too, so he'll take. I think he's been gelded too, unfortunately, since his last win. I think he's won 6 of. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but he's been gelded. The unfortunate operation that they have to have from time to time. Southland Oaks was run and won. Interesting little race on the weekend too, the Aldebaran Park, or Dancing in the Dark M it was. But a little bit of an interesting race, Andrew.
Yeah, well, manners were key in the end. Unfortunately, Empire City looked like she was jogging at the 400 and just faltered in behind and blundered. I think they had in the starts report, which was well named, I thought, because on video you're really not sure what she did, and I don't think even Ricky was too sure, and she blew to bits. And Princess Sadie, as we talked about last week, Mrs. Consistent. She's been in all those good races over the last 12 months, and she got a due reward and a big win for Maddie Williamson and stuff like that in that ownership group. So it was exciting to see. It was a quality field, and they're all a shot in it anyway. And like we said last week, I know that she was a short price favourite in Empire City, but it only takes a little issue like that, and the short price isn't a moral anyway.
No, and I was reliably informed that she stood on a hind shoe, which in itself, I'd say it must have moved a little bit during the run, and she's managed to stand on that because she came back without one back shoe, and they believe that's what happened. So an unfortunate thing that you don't happen too often, but it's just it does happen. The Canterbury Park Stakes as well, another race at Aldebaran Park, sponsored through over the weekend, taken out by Bet and Win. First 3 home in that go into the $400,000 Dominion Handicap, and Duncan's putting his name to some great races. There's a reason for it. It was a great race on Friday night, just gone at Addington. Yeah,
well, as Duncan's always been big supporter of trotting and getting those races off the ground, like that Southland Oaks a few years ago wasn't really a race, and now it's consistently on the calendar for them to target. And the Canterbury Park Cup, well, it's been around for years and years as a big Dominion, probably the major one for the Dominion. And like horses like Mystical Max, like we talked about last week, he was outside the ratings. He's secured his spot now. Like he was 11th, so he was in, but he's locked and loaded now. Like there's no good performances below that can knock him out of that. Bet and Win was only 15th. He's now 4th, and Loving the Port, he was probably guaranteed a spot, but now he is running 3rd, right? So as we said last week, it was a good race where anyone outside that 15 or in a tricky spot where they might be knocked out of the Dominion, they can win it. And it was won by a nice horse, Bet and Win. He did it easily and just kept coming when they looked like they were eyeballing him. And Bob just gave him a wee flick on the arse. He just finds again, and there was a lot of excitement. That's a big ownership group in that. David and Stacey, they took a plunge really buying one like that, and they've managed to get in some very experienced owners and then some newbies too. And like I said to them in the owners room, it's good to see people like the Kennards and Breckens and stuff like that supporting younger trainers. Obviously, they've had their success with Mark and Natalie and all that over the years, and now they're sort of branching out. And David and Stacey are doing a great job. I know probably Major Hot, they might get it back maybe in the future. They never know, but it's good to see them supporting those guys.
Oh, it is, and I said it on one of the other shows. I think there's a real changing of the guard in New Zealand, and a lot of these younger trainers coming through. Regan Todd with a lovely pacer, but he's got a couple of nice trotters as well stepping out Friday night. Actually, they'd be looking to get into the velocity going forward. So it is really exciting in New Zealand. I think the depth of trainers and the young people starting to come through, going through the ranks. And you can even actually attest to, although this is Hot To Trot, Duncan won't mind being a little bit self-indulgent. You had a nice little winner on debut on Tuesday night, just gone at Canterbury Park with Joe and Dylan Ferguson.
Yeah, Cambridge, Mike Ross. So we've only got a small share in it, but it was the first of the Louis Micro Syndicate stuff that we do over here. So Joe and Dylan brought them, and they were probably just struggling a little bit to sell some shares. So I said, we'll throw it up on the website and see what we can sell, and we'll sold a little bit of it. And then a lot of people have gone again into a Down by the Seaside that we brought this year. So it's just getting people in for a wee taste of it and going forward. But they're doing a good job. And like you say, there's some young trainers around getting good support, and there's even some big guys entering the game in New Zealand, which is really exciting. Like at a time where probably 2 years, 3 years ago, those big guys were cutting back, leaving. There's actually other people now that are in the, say, 40 to 60 range. They're selling their businesses, and they're getting substantial money for them, and their idea is, well, we're going to maybe buy a place, or we're going to, look to team up with a young trainer and stuff like that. So I think you'll probably see more of that over the next few years in New Zealand, where maybe even some training centres pop up privately by people, and then it's a working in between syndicators and those guys and the younger trainers. And I think it's really exciting time to be in New Zealand harness racing.
No, it is indeed, and they're looking after the trotters so well with the velocity, the Derby, the Oaks prize money increases as well. We've got to remember those, plus the 2-year-old trot races, and I believe there's a few sneaky little more initiatives on the way. So it is super exciting, and we want people to invest in harness racing. Hot To Trot, we want them to invest in the trotter. Aldebaran Park, Bill Collins mile sprint. I keep going to call it the mile. Only people in my generation will know why I call it that race, because it is over the 17:20. But of course, won by Just Believe. He's a superstar horse. Hopefully, he's got tongues wagging over there in New Zealand, mate.
Yeah, of course he does. Obviously, got that little taste of him for the trot race, so the Tab Trot, and everyone knows how good he is. And to throw him back into the mix, like I thought Muscle Mountain the other day in the Dancing in the Dark Canterbury Cup was sensational first up off 20 metres. Once he gets back to the handicaps, he'll be awesome. Oscar Bonavina, obviously, he was driven a bit quiet, but he stormed home into a good spot. Like, they were really happy with him. So to throw Just Believe back in there, and then with like Bet and Win on his way up, and some of those young horses like Mystical Max was taking great ground the other day, and some of those other ones, like, it's going to be a very exciting race. That race the other day was exciting. Chris Lang made it super exciting, right? So you only need someone to do that, and I thought he was beatable at the top of the lane, and he showed his true champion title to win it. But it shows that he is a superstar, no doubt. But I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them here gave it to him a bit tougher, and we could be in for a real ding dong now. Like the race that burns in my memory for trotting is the Sunday Sun Muscle Mountain race. I was in the stand for it, and it's that last 400 meters was like slow-mo. Like, that's just like a visual memory of, I could only imagine watching the Christian Cullens and the stuff before my time, even back in the 80s and 90s that people talk about. Like, that was a great trotting race. So to get Just Believe over here and add in our big dogs and see where they measure up, it's going to be very exciting.
No, you're right. I was lucky enough to be there that day, and just the emotion and seeing Natalie come up and give Ben Hope a cuddle afterwards, and congratulate him for his drive running second. It was just great. I think that many people enjoyed it. I think Mark and Natalie on that occasion, they had a tribe of horses in, yet they take the time out to congratulate people on putting on a show and a spectacle on that occasion. That's what the Dominion Handicap is, and I think that's why we love the Trotter so much. I said Kilmore Cup night, the Pacing Cup was a ho-hum race. We had a superstar in Just Believe, but Call Me the Breeze was in that. Sorry, Call Me the Breeze was in that. RC Phoenix and a couple of these other up-and-coming horses. It was just a better race, better spectacle, better race, and you're talking about the Dominion Handicap. The Trotters of the future. We've got to embrace them and get behind them. What else have you got, Andrew? Any other Aldebaran Park news that I better let you get out?
No, it was probably
covered off
the same as last week. But obviously, I think it's a great time to be breeding at all, let alone breeding a trotter. So if you're out there, get in touch. Obviously, my number's down the bottom there, or reach out to Duncan if you want to chat to him. He can provide even more in depth on all of that, and we'll both chew your ear off about trotters and get you into it. But I think great time to be breeding. The numbers are coming down, a little bit more every time, and the prices of horses are going up. And I think that's why I've thrown my sport of breeding a Dancing in the Dark as well as a Aldebaran Eagle and a couple more. So I think get involved, and if you're not thinking about breeding or you want to chat, then just ring up.
No, absolutely. Hot to Trot, brought to you by Aldebaran Park. Andrew, thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Paul. See you later.